What kind of boxer are you in the world of Stoicism? There's a powerful metaphor that's echoed through time. Life is like a boxing match, but it's not about how well you can throw punches, it's about how well you can take them. Because in life, you will get hit. Unexpected setbacks, failures, losses, disappointments, they're part of the match. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus once asked a simple but piercing question. What kind of boxer are you if you leave the ring just because you got hit? It's not just about boxing, it's about how you respond to adversity. Do you fold the moment things get hard, or do you rise, gather yourself, and keep going? The Stoics believed that true strength isn't found in avoiding hardship, it's revealed in how we respond to it. That's why they trained their minds the same way athletes train their bodies, with discipline, clarity, and purpose. Think back on your own life. When you faced failure, did it knock you out permanently, or did it teach you something deeper about who you are? Did you give in to self-pity, or did you rise again, stronger and more determined? In the ring of life, we're all going to take hits. The only question is, will you stay down, or will you get back up? Will you let life define you by your pain, or will you define yourself by how you endure and rise? The Stoics weren't just armchair philosophers. They were warriors of the mind, men who faced exile, poverty, betrayal, and even death with unshakable courage. They didn't run from life's blows, they welcomed them as opportunities to practice what they preached. So the next time life throws a punch, channel your inner Stoic. Don't shy away from failure. Don't fear the hit. See it as a sparring partner, training you, sharpening you, helping you become the person you were meant to be, as Seneca once said. A man at constant feud with misfortune develops a skin calloused by suffering. It's not about becoming numb. It's about building inner strength, developing the kind of mental toughness that helps you face anything without breaking. So ask yourself, what kind of boxer am I? Am I the one who quits at the first sign of trouble, or am I the one who gets back up every time stronger than before? That answer will shape the rest of your match in life. Because Stoicism isn't about avoiding pain, it's about training for it, facing it with courage, and rising again and again until the fight is over. Or as Muhammad Ali said, I hated every minute of training, but I said, don't quit. Suffer now and live the rest of your life as a champion. That is the heart of the Stoic mindset. Train hard, endure well. Live as a champion. Always have a mental reverse clause. In Stoic philosophy, there's a concept that's as practical as it is profound, the reverse clause. It's not just a fancy mental trick or abstract theory. It's a mindset tool you can carry with you every day. Think of it as a mental plan B, a quiet strength that kicks in when life doesn't go as expected. It's the ability to adjust, adapt, and stay grounded, no matter what kind of curveball comes your way. The Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius captured this beautifully when he wrote, "No one can hinder you from keeping your thoughts according to nature. Nothing can touch the mind, no fire, no steel, no tyranny, no slander." In other words, your inner life is untouchable. No external chaos, no rejection, no insult, no disaster can take away your power to choose your response. Let's make this real. Say you've been pouring your heart into a project, staying up late, giving it your all, and at the last moment, your boss shoots it down. You feel the sting of disappointment, maybe even anger. But then, your reverse clause activates. You take a breath. You remind yourself, this doesn't define me. It's not a reflection of my worth, just a challenge. You regroup, revise your plan, and move forward with clarity. That's the reverse clause in action. It's not about blind optimism. It's not pretending everything's fine. It's about being prepared mentally, emotionally, and philosophically for the fact that life won't always go your way. And when it doesn't, you don't collapse, you pivot. In relationships, your reverse clause might mean choosing forgiveness when someone lets you down. In business, it might mean learning from failure and trying again with sharper insight. Even in the face of death, the Stoics had a reverse clause to accept it as part of nature and to live fully in the time we're given. The reverse clause shifts your focus from what you can't control to what you can. It reminds you that you're never powerless, because you always have control over your mindset and your actions. Modern Stoic William Irvine described it as a kind of mental judo, using the energy of adversity not to fight back, but to redirect and rise. Think of Thomas Edison when his lab burned down, destroying years of work. He didn't dwell in despair. He said, "Now we can start fresh," and rebuilt better than before. That was his reverse clause. Or take Captain Tammy Jo Schultz, a pilot whose plane lost an engine mid-flight. She didn't panic, she stayed calm, drew on her training, and safely landed the plane, saving every life on board. That's reverse clause in motion, poise under pressure, calm in chaos. But here's the key. You don't need to be a pilot or inventor to use this. Anyone can develop this mindset. It's a tool for daily life, for frustrations, failures, heartbreaks, and everything in between. It's about cultivating resilience, adaptability, and perspective. Because at its core, the reverse clause is a reminder life will surprise you, things will fall apart, but you don't have to. As Seneca said, a happy life is built on strength of character, and character is shaped through adversity. So the next time something goes wrong, remember you have a choice. You have a reserve of strength inside you. Use your reverse clause. See the obstacle, accept it, adapt, turn it into fuel. This isn't just philosophy. It's a way to live with purpose, resilience, and meaning even when the world doesn't cooperate. And when you train your mind this way, when you make the reverse clause part of your daily mental routine, you'll discover a powerful truth. You are far more capable, resilient, and free than you ever imagined. Learn, practice, train. Philosopher Edition. All right, folks, let's talk about leveling up your life. No, not in a video game, not by collecting XP or chasing shortcuts. We're talking about real self-improvement, the kind that's been tested by time and practiced by the wisest minds in history. The Stoics and ancient philosophers had their own version of a personal development system. Let's call it the LPT loop: learn, practice, train. It's like a workout for your mind, your character, and your soul. Think about it. You don't get in shape just by reading about exercise. You have to hit the gym, lift the weight, and sweat through the process. The same rule applies to inner growth. You don't become wise, disciplined, or fulfilled just by consuming ideas. You have to live them, apply them, train with them over and over again. The ancient routine. The great minds Aristotle, Epictetus, Seneca. They all lived by this loop. They didn't chase overnight success. They believed in continuous learning, deliberate effort, and mental discipline. Aristotle said it best: we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. It's not about one-time breakthroughs or motivation highs. It's about consistency, learning with purpose, practicing with intention, and training like your life depends on it. So how do you apply this today? 1. Learn or seek out knowledge from all directions: books, mentors, podcasts, life itself. Stay curious. Question your beliefs. Be humble enough to admit you don't know it all. because the more you learn, the more you'll realize how much there's left to understand. 2. Practice. Don't just collect quotes, live them. Put wisdom into action. Test it in your daily interactions, your work, your inner struggles. As Seneca said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, who is poor." Apply that. Reflect on it. Practice letting go of unnecessary desires today. 3. Train. Training means repetition. It means discipline, even when you don't feel like it. It means stretching yourself, building habits, and slowly sharpening your character. The martial artist Bruce Lee once said, "I fear not the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks once, but the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times." That's the kind of depth the Stoics respected, not variety for show, but mastery through repetition. Real-life examples. Look around, this loop is everywhere. The athlete trains daily, not just for game day, but to build the foundation of strength and focus. The musician doesn't become great by inspiration alone. They rehearse, refine, repeat. The writer doesn't wait for a perfect sentence to appear. They show up daily, write badly, revise boldly, and grow steadily. No one becomes great by accident. They follow the loop. And the bottom line: self-improvement isn't a magic trick. It's not about hype or shortcuts. It's a quiet, lifelong journey of learning, practicing, and training. And it's worth it. When you commit to this loop, you begin to unlock your potential. You cultivate wisdom, develop inner strength, and build a life rooted in purpose. In the words of Epictetus, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." So react by learning, respond by practicing, transform by training. This is the Stoic path. This is the way forward. Lesson: how you do anything is how you do everything, the microcosm of you. All right, folks, get ready for a truth bomb, one that might just flip your entire worldview. How you do anything is how you do everything. This isn't just a catchy quote for a motivational poster. It's a deep, philosophical principle, and if you take it seriously, it can unlock an entirely new level of self-awareness and transformation. The microcosm effect. Think of your life as a microcosm, a tiny universe where every small action reflects something bigger. Each habit, every little choice, and even your fleeting thoughts, they're all echoes of your inner world, like fractals. The same patterns repeat at different scales. As the Greek philosopher Heraclitus said, "Character is destiny," and your character is built not in grand dramatic moments, but in the small, ordinary, everyday things you do. The domino effect. The way you approach one part of your life often spills over into every other part. If you're careless at work, chances are you're carrying that same energy into your relationships, your finances, even your health. If you're consistently honest, disciplined, and focused, you'll see that integrity ripple across all areas of your life. That's the power of alignment. That's why how you do anything is how you do everything. So how do you live this out? 1. Awareness. Start by observing your patterns. How do you show up in your work, your conversations, your habits? Are there inconsistencies? Blind spots. Awareness is the first step toward alignment. 2. Integrity. Live in harmony with your values. Let your words, actions, and intentions line up. Be the kind of person who keeps promises to others and to yourself. When you live with integrity, you build trust, and trust is the foundation of a strong character. 3. Excellence. Don't aim for perfection, aim for effort and care, even in the smallest tasks. As Michelangelo said, the true work of art is but a shadow of divine perfection. Your everyday actions are your art. How you write an email, how you treat a stranger, how you keep your space. It all adds up. 4. Mindfulness. Be fully present in what you're doing. Notice your emotions, your intentions, your defaults. When you're mindful, you stop running on autopilot and you begin making conscious choices that align with your deeper values. 5. Growth mindset. Believe that you can improve, that your effort matters. That failure is part of learning, as psychologist Carol Dweck put it. In a growth mindset, people believe their abilities can be developed through dedication and hard work. It's not about where you are, it's about who you're becoming. Real-life reflections. The punctual professional who's always on time. They're probably also organized, accountable, and dependable in other parts of life. The mindful eater who pays attention to what they consume. They're likely just as intentional with their thoughts, their time, and their energy. The passionate volunteer who serves with heart. That compassion likely shines through in how they show up for family, work, and community. The bottom line. Your life is a reflection. Each action, each decision, each moment they mirror your character. So if you want a life filled with purpose, strength, and fulfillment, don't wait for the big moments to prove yourself. Start with the little things. Live with care. Do the small things well. Because, as Aristotle put it, we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. And that habit, it begins now with how you do anything. Marks of the Good Life, Philosopher's Edition. All right, folks, let's talk about the good life. And no, we're not talking about sipping margaritas on a yacht or hitting the jackpot. Sure, those might be fun bonuses, but the real good life, it goes much deeper. We're talking about a life filled with meaning, fulfillment, purpose, and peace, a life where you feel aligned with who you truly are and the world around you. The happiness hype. In today's world, we're bombarded with messages about what the good life should look like. A high-paying job, a big house, a luxury car, a flawless family. We're sold this dream where happiness is a finish line, something to chase, something we'll finally reach once we check all the boxes. But here's the truth. The good life isn't found in achievements or possessions. It's found in alignment with your values, your passions, your relationships, and something greater than yourself. Ancient wisdom. The ancient philosophers had a lot to say about this. Aristotle, Epictetus, Seneca. They didn't all agree on the details, but they shared one core belief. The good life isn't about fleeting pleasures or outside validation. It's about living a life rooted in virtue, wisdom, and inner peace. As Aristotle said, happiness depends upon ourselves. The good life doesn't just happen, it's something we create. Through our choices, our habits, our mindset. The blueprint for a good life. So what are the timeless ingredients of a good life? Here's what the philosophers taught. 1. Virtue to the Greeks. Virtue was the foundation qualities like courage, wisdom, justice, and temperance. Living with virtue means striving to be the best version of yourself, not just for your own sake, but for the good of others. 2. Meaningful relationships. We're social beings. Connection is essential. The good life means building deep, honest relationships, whether with family, friends, partners, or even strangers. As Epictetus put it, we are born for cooperation like the hands, the eyelids, and the jaws. 3. Purposeful work. Work isn't just a paycheck. It's a chance to create, to serve, to express something real. When your work is meaningful and aligned with your values, it becomes a source of joy and contribution. 4. Inner peace. The true source of happiness isn't out there, it's within. Cultivating inner peace through mindfulness, reflection, and stillness allows you to stay grounded no matter what the world throws at you. As the Buddha said, peace comes from within. Do not seek it without. Real-world examples. Let's bring it down to earth. The teacher who devotes their life to guiding young minds, finding joy in watching others grow. The nurse who cares for patients with compassion, making a difference in lives during their most vulnerable moments. The artist who expresses truth and beauty through their craft, sharing their soul with the world. The volunteer who shows up for others not for recognition, but because they care. These lives may not make headlines, but they are rich with meaning. That's the good life, the bottom line. There's no one-size-fits-all path. The good life is personal. But the timeless ingredients remain: live with virtue, build deep relationships, do purposeful work, cultivate inner peace. As Socrates once said, the unexamined life is not worth living. So take the time to reflect, examine your values, define your vision, and then go live it. Less of the fountain of goodness. Your inner wellspring of awesome, no digging required. All right, folks. Let's dive into some real feel-good philosophy. And no, we're not talking about fluffy affirmations or toxic positivity. Though hey, a little optimism never hurt anybody. We're talking about something deeper, a core belief that goodness is part of who we are. An inner wellspring we can tap into to create a more compassionate, just, and fulfilling world. The bad news. Bias, let's be real. The world can feel like a dark place sometimes. We're bombarded daily with stories of violence, injustice, cruelty, and division. And after a while, it's easy to get cynical to believe humanity's lost its way. But here's the truth. Most headlines miss. Yes, evil and suffering exist, but they're not the whole story. There is also immense kindness, courage, generosity, and compassion around us every day. We just don't hear about it as much because kindness isn't always click-worthy. The philosophical reframe. The ancient philosophers had a different view. Plato, Aristotle, and their peers believed goodness is baked into human nature, not guaranteed but possible. A potential waiting to be cultivated, a seed we all carry. As Plato put it, good actions give strength to ourselves and inspire good actions in others. In other words, being good isn't just about doing the right thing. It's a source of strength, of transformation, a force that uplifts not just you, but everyone around you. The ripple effect. Think of goodness like dropping a pebble in a still pond. One kind word, one generous act, one moment of courage, and the ripples begin, touching friends, then strangers, then communities, then the world. When you act with compassion, you're not just making a single choice, you're setting off a chain reaction. You're reminding others of what's possible. So how do you tap into this fountain of goodness? Here's the path, rooted in both ancient wisdom and everyday action. 1. Cultivate compassion. Compassion is the ability to feel with others, not just for them. It's the foundation of kindness, empathy, and love. The more compassion you practice, the more open, connected, and human you become. 2. Practice generosity. Generosity isn't just about giving money. It's about giving your time, your attention, your skills, your presence. When you give freely, you create abundance both within yourself and for others. 3. Choose kindness. In every interaction, you have a choice to be kind or not. Kindness is a decision, especially when it's hard. And in a world where you can be anything, be kind. 4. Stand up for justice. When you witness injustice, speak up. Use your voice, your time, your energy to support what's right. Small acts of resistance can lead to big changes. 5. Be the change. As Gandhi said, be the change you want to see in the world. Don't wait for others to make it better. Start with you. Live your values. Let your life be proof that goodness still exists. Real-world examples. Let's make it real. The volunteer firefighter risking their life for strangers, guided by courage, duty, and service. The soup kitchen hero, serving food and dignity to those society too often forgets. The everyday activist speaking out, showing up, standing tall even when no one's watching. These people remind us goodness isn't flashy, it's steady, it's humble, and it matters. The bottom line: goodness is not a rare commodity, it's a renewable resource already within you. By choosing compassion, generosity, kindness, justice, and personal responsibility, you tap into the fountain of goodness that's been waiting all along. And those ripples, they spread from your heart into your home, your community, and beyond. As the Dalai Lama said, if you want others to be happy, practice compassion. If you want to be happy, practice compassion. So go ahead, tap into that wellspring and let the goodness flow. Quality over quantity. The zen of less is more and why your brain will thank you. All right, folks, let's flip the script on a belief that's quietly running your life. More is better. That's the message everywhere. More money, more followers, more likes, more hustle. But here's a truth the world doesn't tell you. More isn't always better. In fact, it often makes life worse. Let's break it down. The quantity conundrum. We live in a world addicted to accumulation. More stuff that's more clutter, more work, less time to breathe, more friends online. Often fewer deep relationships offline. We've been conditioned to believe that success is measured in numbers, hours worked, digits in your bank account, the size of your social circle. But as Seneca once said, it is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. Life isn't about how much you squeeze in. It's about how deeply you experience what truly matters. The quality revolution. The ancient Greeks had a word, arete. It meant excellence, not just skill, but virtue, purpose, and presence. It wasn't about having more, it was about doing things well. As Aristotle put it, quality is not an act, it is a habit. This isn't a surface-level fix. It's a shift in philosophy, a way of approaching life that values richness over volume, depth over distraction. So how do you live this way? How to choose quality over quantity. 1. Prioritize depth over breadth. Don't try to be everywhere, do everything, please everyone. Focus on a few meaningful things, your craft, your relationships, your growth, and do them with care and attention. Be a master of something, not a scatter of everything. 2. Embrace slow living. The fast life burns out the mind. Slow down, simplify, breathe, disconnect from the noise, reconnect with yourself. Stillness isn't laziness, it's clarity. 3. Invest in experiences, not stuff. The newest gadget will break or become obsolete, but the memory of a quiet walk with someone you love, a concert that moved your soul, that stays. Buy less, live more. 4. Build deep relationships. Don't chase more friends, build real ones. A handful of true connections will carry you farther than 100 shallow ones ever could. 5. Pursue mastery instead of chasing every shiny object. Commit to your craft. Go deep. As Bruce Lee said, I fear not the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks once, but the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times. real-world wisdom in action. The minimalist entrepreneur. Instead of chasing every new trend, they go all in on a few core ideas. The result? Products with soul. Businesses that matter. The mindful parent. Instead of overwhelming their kids with activities, they create quality time talking, laughing, being present. That's what kids remember. The slow food advocate, cooking with intention, eating with gratitude. Slowing down enough to taste not just the food, but life itself. The bottom line, quality over quantity, isn't just a trendy phrase. It's a way to reclaim your peace, your presence, your purpose. It's about depth over distraction, experiences over things, meaning over metrics, mastery over mediocrity. As Confucius said, it does not matter how slowly you go, as long as you do not stop. So stop counting. Start living. Heroes, here and now, your guide to everyday bravery. Philosophical edition. All right, let's forget the capes and special effects for a minute. Today, we're talking about real-life heroes, not the ones flying through the sky in blockbuster films, but the quiet, steady ones who walk beside us every day. The ones who show up, speak up, and make a difference not with superpowers, but with small, powerful acts of courage. The hero myth, rewritten. We've been raised on stories of heroes with grand destinies and impossible strength. But real heroism doesn't need a spotlight. It's not about saving the world in one dramatic moment. It's about rising up in the everyday struggles. Aristotle once said, "Courage is the first of human qualities because it is the quality which guarantees the others. Without courage, no other virtue can fully exist." And that's where the hero's journey begins, with inner bravery. The path of the everyday hero. 1. Moral courage. Being heroic starts with standing up for what's right even when it's hard, even when no one else does. Moral courage means speaking the truth, protecting the vulnerable, and holding firm to your values when the world pushes back. 2. Resilience. Life hits hard, but everyday heroes don't stay down. They fall, learn, and rise again. It's not about being unbreakable. It's about refusing to stay broken. 3. Compassion. Real strength is found in empathy. Everyday heroes feel the pain of others and act to ease it. As the Dalai Lama put it, if you want others to be happy, practice compassion. If you want to be happy, practice compassion. 4. Selflessness. Heroism means putting others first, not for praise or attention, but because it's the right thing to do. True heroes give their time, their energy, and their hearts, not expecting anything in return. 5. Perseverance. Everyday heroes keep going, through doubt, through failure, through pain. They know the journey matters more than the applause. Heroism isn't about winning, it's about showing up again and again. Real-world heroism. Let's ground this in real life. The single mother who works multiple jobs, sacrifices her own comfort, and refuses to give up hope for her children's future. The first responder, the firefighter, the medic, the officer running into danger while the rest of us run out. The teacher who sees potential in kids that the world overlooks, who stays late, listens deeply, and changes lives. The activist who stands in the face of injustice, who raises their voice even when it's trembling, and who fights for those without one. The bottom line: you don't need a cape to be a hero. You don't need to be perfect, fearless, or famous. What you need is courage to act on your principles, compassion to care deeply, and grit to keep going, no matter how rough the road gets. As Emerson said, do not go where the path may lead. Go instead where there is no path and leave a trail. That's the quiet power of a true hero. And the world needs more of them now, more than ever. Heroes, here and now. Your Guide to Everyday Bravery, Philosophical Edition. All right, folks, let's set aside the capes and tights and talk about real-life heroism, not the kind that leaps from comic book pages or explodes on movie screens, but the kind that quietly walks among us every day. The heroes who show up, step up, and make a difference one small act of courage at a time. The hero myth. We often imagine heroes as larger-than-life figures endowed with special powers and destined for greatness. But real heroism isn't about dramatic gestures or superhuman feats. It's about ordinary people who rise to the occasion in extraordinary ways, especially when it matters most. As Aristotle said, "Courage is the first of human qualities because it is the quality which guarantees the others." In other words, courage is the foundation. It's what enables us to live by our values even when it's difficult, unpopular, or risky. The Everyday Hero's Journey 1. Moral courage. It starts with moral courage, the bravery to speak the truth even when it's uncomfortable. It's standing up for what's right, challenging injustice, and protecting the vulnerable, even when silence would be easier. 2. Resilience. Life throws curveballs, but the everyday hero doesn't stay down. They stumble, they learn, they adapt, and they rise again. As the old saying goes, fall 7 times, stand up 8. 3. Compassion. Real heroes care deeply. They have the courage to feel the pain of others and the heart to act on it. As the Dalai Lama said, if you want others to be happy, practice compassion. If you want to be happy, practice compassion. 4. Selflessness. The everyday hero gives not for praise or reward, but out of genuine concern. They offer time, energy, and resources where it's needed most. They help simply because it's the right thing to do. 5. Perseverance. Heroism isn't a single act, it's a way of living. It's the grit to keep going, even when the road is long. True courage lies not in victory, but in refusing to quit. Real-world examples. Let's bring it down to earth. The single mom who works 2 jobs, sacrifices endlessly, and still holds on to hope for her children's future. That's heroism. The first responders who run toward danger to protect lives, firefighters, medics, police officers risking it all for others. The teacher who shows up every day to ignite minds and shape futures far beyond the curriculum. The activist who speaks truth to power, stands against inequality, and keeps showing up rain or shine for a better world. The bottom line. You don't need a costume to be a hero. You don't need superpowers under D. You just need the courage to live with integrity, the compassion to care, and the perseverance to keep going. As Ralph Waldo Emerson put it, do not go where the path may lead. Go instead where there is no path and leave a trail. Good habits drive out bad habits. Your brain's upgrade manual. Let's be real, bad habits don't just show up overnight. They creep in slowly, quietly, until they feel like second nature. Scrolling endlessly, procrastinating, snapping in frustration, numbing out. But here's the good news. Bad habits aren't fixed traits, they're patterns. And patterns can be replaced. We often think the key to change is force pure willpower, restriction, elimination. But ancient philosophy and modern science agree the most effective way to defeat a bad habit is to replace it with a better one. That's right. Good habits drive out bad habits, not by brute force, but by design. Nature hates a vacuum. Try to eliminate a bad habit without replacing it, and you'll create a void. And nature hates a vacuum. If you don't fill that space with something better, the old pattern will sneak back in or something worse will take its place. You don't just stop mindless scrolling, you replace it with reading, walking, or calling someone you care about. You don't just stop yelling, you replace it with breathing, pausing, choosing your response. You can't just erase an impulse. You have to redirect it. Rewire your mind. Every habit, good or bad, creates a neural groove in your brain. The more you repeat it, the deeper it goes. That's how behavior becomes automatic. So the goal isn't just to stop the old, it's to carve a new path, one that eventually becomes the path of least resistance. Every time you choose the better action, even if just for a moment, you're reshaping your brain. This is neuroplasticity in action. This is real, sustainable change. Intert leads the way. You don't build new habits just by changing your schedule. You build them by shifting your identity. Don't say, "I'm trying to quit smoking." Say, "I'm not a smoker." Don't say, "I want to wake up early." Say, "I'm someone who rises early and sets the tone for my day." Habits stick when they align with who you believe yourself to be. So start from identity, then act accordingly until that belief becomes truth. Small changes, big shifts. Don't aim to overhaul your entire life overnight. That's how we burn out. Instead, pick one habit, one change. Make it so small you can't fail, then show up for it daily. One page read becomes a chapter. One walk around the block becomes a run. One mindful breath becomes a calmer day. The most powerful changes are quiet. They build momentum slowly, and then suddenly, they're who you are. From the bottom line, bad habits lose power when good ones take root. This isn't about self-denial, it's about transformation. Trade distraction for presence. Trade anger for pause. Trade laziness for discipline. Trade short-term ease for long-term freedom. As the Stoics would say, don't explain your philosophy. Embody it. Let your daily habits be your practice. Let your actions prove your values. Cut your frenemies loose. Your sanity deserves better. Let's talk about toxic friendships, the kind that drain you, confuse you, or quietly chip away at your self-worth. These aren't enemies. They're something trickier. They're frenemies, people who smile on the surface but sabotage underneath. People who clap for your success while secretly rooting for your failure. People who take more than they give. You don't need enemies when you've got friends like these. The hidden cost of frenemies. You might think it's not a big deal. They're just a little negative, a little manipulative, a little unreliable. But over time, those little things add up. Frenemies cost you peace, energy, clarity, and worst of all, they blur your sense of who you are. They make you doubt yourself. They keep you small. The Stoics taught us associate with those who make you better, not bitter, not confused, not constantly on edge. You become like the people you spend time with. So choose wisely. Signs. Know the signs. Frenemies come in many forms. The backhanded complimenter, always finding a way to subtly cut you down while pretending to lift you up. The one-sided friend who disappears when you need help, but always expects you to show up. The jealous saboteur, who makes your success feel like a threat instead of a celebration. The drama magnet, who thrives on chaos and always drags you into it. The manipulator, who plays victim, twists facts, and makes you feel guilty for setting boundaries. If any of these feel familiar, trust your gut. Your discomfort is the signal. Friendship shouldn't be exhausting. True friends energize you. They help you grow. They want the best for you, even when you're winning and they're not. You don't need people who love the version of you that's weak, struggling, or stuck. You need people who respect the version of you that's clear, strong, and rising. Let go of the ones who only liked you when you were smaller. Boundaries are not cruel. You don't have to make a scene. You don't have to explain yourself endlessly. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is step back quietly and stop participating. Cutting ties with toxic friends isn't cruel, it's self-respect. As Epictetus said, keep company only with those who uplift you, whose presence calls forth your best. That's the standard. Not guilt, not nostalgia, not obligation. Excellence. To the bottom line. You outgrow people. That's natural. That's growth. Cutting your frenemies loose isn't about being cold. It's about clearing space for peace, for purpose. For people who truly see you and support you, you owe no one your time or energy. You owe it to yourself to protect your mind, your mission, and your momentum. Let go of those who quietly poison you and surround yourself with those who water your soul. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be present. In each choice, each reaction, each step forward, every day is a chance to return to your true nature, a being of reason, of compassion, and of quiet strength. We can't control the world, but we can control how we live within it. Not through fame, wealth, or outside approval, but through a steady mind and an open heart. Be the hero of your own life. Be the light you're looking for. And remember, the source of the good is never far. It flows from within you.